Okay, so I have a few common sense questions with a few common sense answers. Well, you're probably saying to yourself, if there's such common sense, why are you even going over it? Believe it or not, I think that it's kind of sort of important to go over things, even though we may think that in common people have the sense about it. Not necessarily the case, not necessarily the case at all. Let's talk about, for example, on the subject matter of decluttering. Oh, Jan, oh, but I know the decluttering stories and all this and all that, and I have comments. Maybe you do, but maybe someone else maybe never really ever just decided to declutter, or they get sometimes people get very very what's the word I'm looking for, overwhelmed, and being overwhelmed can be a real big hindrance if you want to begin your decluttering journey. Keep in mind that decluttering is not organizing. Decluttering is just that, decluttering. Many of us have these big ideas that we want to be weekend warriors and take over the whole place and declutter everything in about 3 or 4 or 5 hours. And sounds good. Sounds like something that you'd want to do, or maybe just wave that magic wand, which will work faster. Honestly, to declutter an entire home or apartment in a few hours, it's just wishful thinking. And in my honest opinion, it is unrealistic. But honestly, the best way to get rid of clutter, literally, is to declutter one area at a time. That is definitely much more manageable. Kind of sort of like, how can you eat an elephant? Well, one bite at a time. Not that any of us would want to sit around eating an elephant. I'm just saying, I don't think so anyway. Anyway, we could start by sorting things out into categories. For example, I would get 3 different boxes. I would label one keep, donate, or trash or discard, whatever way you like to use it. Discard has such a commanding sound. That's up to you. But you only keep the things that you really need to or you really love, okay? And then here's the part that a lot of people overlook, okay? And this is really important. Finally, establish a system to prevent clutter from building up all over again. But how can you do that, Jan? Well, you could go back to the area that you just decluttered on a regular basis, perhaps once a week, perhaps once every 2 weeks. You don't let so much time go by. Keep that area tidy. By keeping the area tidy, in all probability, you're not going to be building up clutter. So you keep a watchful eye on it, you go back to it. An ounce of prevention, honestly, truly, is worth a pound of cure. Let's switch gears into the grocery shopping arena. So this question comes up: when is the least busiest time to go grocery shopping for food, for example? Well, of course, nowadays, thankfully, we do have the online option. So keep that in mind. That's a 24-hour availability, and it doesn't get any easier than that. Okay, so let's not forget that. All right. Gone are the days where we didn't have that option, but we do have that option. But for those that are in the mood to be physically present in the store, and I get like that sometimes where you just kind of want to be there, you just want to look at the stuff, see the stuff, look at it, feel that, what it's like again and all that stuff. Okay. But we also like convenience, right? We also like peace of mind and sanity. And truly, when is the least busiest time to go grocery shopping, food shopping? Typically, quite early in the morning is the answer to that question, or very close to closing time. All right. Here's where it really is the pits, the really, really worst time: lunchtime, those hours in the middle of the day. I guess a lot of people have that opportunity while the kids are in school to go grocery shopping in the middle of the day. And that's why it tends to get crowded. This is my thought. This is my guess. So the busiest time is actually lunchtime. And the other one, of course, on the weekend. You know how weekends could get at these types of stores. Weekends could get very busy because for some people, the only opportunity to do this is not during the week at all while they're working, but perhaps on the weekend. And I made the mistake of going on a Sunday at about 5 o'clock to my local grocery store. This was years ago, and I made a vow I would never, ever, ever encounter that thought ever again. I was thinking that I was going to, well, it was going to be quiet at 5 o'clock ish on a Sunday afternoon, thinking people are home, they're roasting their dinners, they're with their families, or they, at a zoo or a park or someplace. Wrong, 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 wrong. No, they were really quite busy at the grocery store. And I made a vow I'm never going to do that again. And to be honest with you, I never did that again. So for me, And also figure out, like in your area, in your locality, the rhythm of the store shopping in your area and what works best. People want to shop in peace. People don't feel like standing on long lines. But don't forget our buddy that I mentioned in the beginning of this question, online shopping, which you could do from the convenience of your computer anytime, day or night, to place your order. Thankfully, we have that option. Couldn't say that about 30 years ago, but thankfully now we could. All right, let's talk about driving on long trips. What are you talking about that for? Well, I think that people make a huge mistake when they travel long journeys by driving alone, that they are alone, that they're solo drivers. I don't think that's a great idea. I think it's better and better, better, better to have an alternate driver with you for so many reasons, really, for obvious reasons. But if you happen to be a solo driver, the best way to prevent fatigue on long drives is literally to take regular breaks. Let's say every two hours, or slash every 100 miles, whichever comes first. But take that break. It's important. Be sure to get plenty of rest before you embark on your journey, and definitely avoid driving during the hours of which normally you may be asleep. This seems like common sense, but honestly, there truly is nothing common about sense, okay? Bring a snack with you, bring plenty of water with you, and definitely, absolutely stay hydrated. But honestly, in my opinion, I'm going to just throw it in again. If all possible, have an alternate driver with you. One never knows if the solo driver maybe just doesn't feel well. That could happen at any time. So it's just really an ounce of prevention. I'm for anything that's of a preventative method, that's of a preventative measure. Here's something that shocked the heck out of me, and this is in reference to desserts. I checked to find out what is the most common dessert sold in the United States. If I was to ask you that, what is the most common dessert sold in the US? Probably you would say something like ice cream, or say something like potato chips, or perhaps chocolate, right? Common dessert item. I was absolutely stunned to find out that according to the source that I checked, the most popular dessert sold in the US is, guess what? Cheesecake. Now, don't get me wrong. I do love me a hunk of cheesecake every once in a while. But as far as it's being the most popularly sold in the United States, that really was staggering and stunning to me. What do you think about that? I'm going to have to double check that one again. I'm still quite surprised about it. But that's the answer that I got. In any event, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I do love me some cheesecake, but I really thought that ice cream or chocolate, honestly, would have been the number one. I really, really thought that, but oh well. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate your time. Hope you had a little fun with this video today. But the questions are important and the answers are very important. So thank you so much. Don't forget to click like, share, and of course, subscribe. Take good care.